This video podcast will feature dialogue about and with professional, college, high school players, coaches, management, executives, officials, fans, the role of sports in society, how sports affects the economy, the social benefits of sports in all communities, how to keep sports as safe as possible, how to ensure sports retirees are not forgotten, and how do we ensure that sports continue to play a positive role in the lives of all people worldwide. It is our goal to have guests join us and participate in the sports dialogue during our episodes.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Sports Dialogue. Today is Saturday, March 14th, and I'm here to discuss the final game of the Big East tournament. We have St. John's and UConn playing to see who will win the Big East tournament. Starts at about 5:30 Eastern or so. So I'm here to tell you what my thoughts are on the game. But first, I want to look back at what St. John's did against a very good Seton Hall team. I did pick St. John's to beat Seton Hall. I knew Seton Hall would play well after seeing them against Creighton. Got a better feel of the team, but I thought that St. John's would be able to be victorious, and they were. It seems as if St. John's, the way I see St. John's, they're getting contribution from more players than when I saw them earlier in the year. It's not just Zuby and Bryce. You know, we have different players stepping up. And for instance, against Seton Hall, Bryce Hopkins was in double figures with 11 points. Zuby Ejiofor had 21 points, and Sellers had 11 points. And then they had contributions from Prey, 8 points. And then Darling had 9 points. So, you know, a point or two more for Prey and Darling. They're in double figures. So they're getting, and Mitchell pitched in with 6. So they're getting timely buckets from a variety of individuals. And that's a good sign. So they meaning St. John's, did shoot 50% field goals. And as I explained on a prior episode, that just means if they took 10 shots, they made 5. So that's what the 50% is. And from 3-point range, they shot 35%. Their free throws were 59%, St. John. So that's not, you know, in a big championship game, they have to shoot a better percentage from the free throw line. 59%, it probably will hurt you. You're leaving points on the table. But I thought St. John's played well. Obviously, Seton Hall, kind of scrambled a little bit, kind of put a little pressure on St. John's. But St. John's withstood the pressure. And from what I saw, they collected themselves and they made timely baskets. And I think that, again, I thought Ruben Prey was effective off the bench. And he plays a critical role because whenever you sub for Bryce Hopkins or Zuby Ejiofor, you know, Prey comes on. And when you take out 2 guys that are in double figures, you know, you have to replace them. And then they play very good defense, especially Zuby. You know, he's on the boards. He's very active. So Prey comes in and he's, you know, I'm not so sure if he gets the credit or not, but I see it. He plays a very significant role for St. John's. And St. John's is getting contributions from a lot of players, and that bodes well for them. Madison Square Garden, they're at home. Although, you know, UConn's crowd's going to show up. There's no question about it. But it's essentially a home game for St. John's. So as far as UConn goes, UConn, you know, without even looking at the numbers, I felt that UConn needed to shoot well yesterday to beat a tough Georgetown team. And Georgetown team, before I get to UConn, Georgetown deserves a lot of credit. They do play tough defense. There's no question about it. Their coach said that they'll guard you, and they did. I saw that, you know, when UConn is running their offense, their system, it was tough to run because Georgetown extended out and made simple passes that are generally not challenged as much during the regular season, they challenged them. So it was very tough for UConn to get into their offense. And so give credit to Georgetown. They played well. They played hard. I think their future is bright. They have a good coach, and the players respond to the coach. So, just want to tip my hat to Georgetown. As far as UConn, I felt that we just needed to shoot a lot better. UConn did not shoot well. Mullins had 21 points. He shot well. And I did say in a prior episode that, you know, I felt he's due for a 25, 30-point game. He had 21. And so he did well. And Demery was in double figures with 10. But, Alex Caravan, who's a great shooter, had 7 points. Tyrus Reed was in some foul trouble. He had 6 points. Solo Ball had 7 points. Jaden Ross pitched in 8, and Eric Reeby pitched in 8. So they were close to double figures. But when you're talking about Caravan, you're talking about Reed, you're talking about Solo Ball. I mean, those are 20-point guys, no question about it. I think that UConn, from what I've seen, plays well when Caravan hits jump shots early, and when Solo Ball hits jump shots early, it kind of gets contagious. The team responds real well. And certainly when Reed down low gets it going offensively with Caravan and Solo hitting jump shots, and then you see Demery step up, Mullins step up, and Jaden Ross step up. Just everyone kind of gets ignited when Caravan and Solo Ball, who are two veterans, when they get going. And I think, as I said earlier, everyone on that team can shoot. There's no question about it. And to beat a St. John's team tonight, it's going to take that kind of an effort. When they played St. John's the second time in Hartford, that's what they had. They just shot the ball really, really well. Obviously, you can't just shoot. You have to play defense. And Edgerford is tough, but Reed is definitely up to the challenge, and Reed's going to put a lot of pressure on Zuby defensively. So they're going to put pressure on each other. There's no question about it. Reed is really matured into a fantastic player. There's no question about it. But we need Eric Reeby, when he comes in, he needs to be as effective or even more effective than Ruben Prey, who I know is going to be effective. And Eric has been effective. And I think I've said it before, he's critical to UConn's success, because when Reed has to rest, and, I don't want to put any jinx on him and talk about foul trouble, but when he has to come out of the game, there cannot be a drop off. So UConn has to play tough D. It's going to be tough to double Edgerford, but if you have to, you have to. You have to be careful who you double off of. But if he's getting it going, we don't want to get Reed in foul trouble. He's super important. So if we got to throw a double at him, throw a double at him. But he's gonna get his to some extent. But I think that for UConn to win, they're going to have to shoot much better than they did. They shot 32% against Georgetown. They shot 32% against Georgetown from the three-point range, and they shot 47% field goal. So percentage, and 75% from the free throw line. So they have to get a lot better on the free throw line. 75% needs to be at least 80, 85, 90% in a game like tonight. They had 6 blocks against Georgetown, which is good. 10 turnovers. If you can cut the turnovers down, that would be helpful. I know that both teams are going to play tough defense. I think this game's going to come down to which team can make clutch shots. Who's going to make shots? And for UConn to win, I look early to see Caravan. He typically passes up shots early, and he waits till the game gets going, and late he's a dagger guy. But I think tonight, what I would recommend is he comes out firing. Don't pass up the shots early, whether it's a mid-range or a long three, get it going, because then Solo Ball will get it going. And once you see those two guys get it going, Mullen's going to want to get his. And, once he gets going, you know, then Demery gets going, and everybody else gets going. Ross, everybody gets going. So I am picking to win the Big East championship game tonight, the Yukon Huskies. No disrespect to St. John's. I root for all the New York teams. You know, I grew up in New York, went to school in New York, public school, high school. I'm an Erasmus Hall graduate. I'll talk about my Erasmus Hall days on a future episode. I played football for Erasmus Hall. A lot of friends in Brooklyn. I went to school at Wagner College, as I mentioned before. So I'm a New Yorker at heart. But tonight, I am going with the Yukon Huskies. So I hope you enjoy. Make sure you get your exercise in. And if you're over a certain age, make sure you touch base with your doctor before you exercise and get your doctor's approvals. But I would say, enjoy the game and remember to exercise. Thank you and God bless you.